Hey guys, can you hear me now? Hello.
Hi, I can
Oh,
hear you, sir.
okay, okay. Yeah, sorry about this. Let's see. Can I share my screen from the? Okay, I can share my screen from here. Yeah, this is just the same thing. Like, let me just share my entire screen. I don't have time.
Alright.
Okay. Let me know
Check
if you
it.
can see my screen. Is there like a thumbs up you can do with this? Thumbs up. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Brief introduction. My name is Charles, and I've been in the blockchain space and the Web3 space for close to since 2020, so close to 4 years now. And I basically have experience with the Ethereum. I think I've used almost all blockchains, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and currently now I'm mainly active on Solana chain. Um, the reason for joining Solana is because of the speed and transaction fees. So today we are going to look at Rust, and we are going to look at how to write Solana programs with Rust Anchor. Please, if you heard what I said in the last 2 minutes, thumbs up. I just want to make sure that everybody's following along. Give me a thumbs up if you heard what I said in the last 2 minutes. I don't see a thumbs up from laughter. Awesome. Awesome. So I'm not sure. I would like to just assess the audience. If you've written any Rust before, please type a yes or no on the chat. I've written yes before. I've written Rust before. Type a yes or no. Or I actively use Rust, or you know Rust. Yes or no on the chat. Let's keep it going quickly, please. No, cool. Okay, I will assume if you are three and one person says no, that means the 3% of the class doesn't not use. Just started with the docs. Oh, okay, cool. So that means you're just starting. Um, so we quickly just run through Rust, right? Because my idea for this presentation was to like go do like some hands-on work, and I don't like those fancy things. Like we just go into the codes and understand the code itself, and not see slides and all that, right? So to move forward, I will recommend this article for Introduction to Rust. I'll drop it on the chart. Um, I actually wrote this article um, when I was learning Rust. No, let's say after some few years in Rust, I wrote this article to like brush people up on how to use Rust. So quickly, I will just create a file called intro.rs. Right. So this is how we create Rust file. If it's gonna be JS, it's gonna be intro.js, it's gonna be TypeScript intro.ts, blah blah blah. Um, awesome. So if you look into that article, basically Rust is basically a statically typed programming language which helps you to improve performance and safety, right? With Rust, you tend to focus on what Rust tends to do for you is to save you from issues, save you from future failures. For instance, in JavaScript, there's some magic that can happen when you write JavaScript. Some magic, for instance, something like let me give you guys a simple one. Something like, just watch this, something like 0 is greater than or equal to null. You see, this is actually nonsense, yeah? But this is how JavaScript work. So if you say 0 is equal to null, it give you false. But yeah, you see, can anybody hear me? Is there a message on chat? Oh, someone has joined. Okay, cool. So this is JavaScript context here, and you can see what we did here. We said 0 equal greater than or equal to null, it give us true. And we say 0 is equal to null, it give us false. Now you can see how weird JavaScript hacked, right? If you say 0 is equal to triple equal to check to null, it gives us false. So this is really, really weird, right? And this could resolve into some serious bugs when you have like a very large code base. Now, how does ROS come into play? ROS saves you from doing something like this. ROS will not allow you to do this in the first place, right? So initially, when you're learning Rust, it tends to like, you may feel like it is holding you back, right? But with time, when you start writing complex projects, you realize that if you did not use Rust in the first place, it would have been way harder to do. Are there messages on the chart? Okay, cool. So great to be here. Great to have you here too. So you can see these whole things that JavaScript do and some other programming language do in Rust, you don't have them. So we quickly just run through Rust, like run through how to declare a variable, how to write a function, whatever. Then we will now go into writing Solana programs. If anyone likes, I think that's the best approach, because I mean, I don't want to just open Solana program to you and start showing you serious codes. Yeah, you may get confused, right? So let's go with, you understand at least what's a variable, how to declare them, and then we can now progressively understand these complex things that you're seeing on my screen. Does that work for you? If it works for you, give me a thumb up. If it works for you, give me a thumb up. Nice, cool. So we have checking. Oh, I can see laughter. You're giving me a high. Awesome. Now let's go. So I need to, let me open this thing in a new code base. Let me just open a new code base. New window. Let me open. You know what? I don't want to waste time. Let's just continue. I need to. Awesome. So when you want to create a Rust program, you see that in Rust we have function as fn, then main, right? This is like, the main is like where everything executes from. Then you have your bracket, and you have your curly braces, right? Simple. Other program can have something like function, which is in JavaScript. In Golang, we have, I think, is it FN? I think it's FN2 for Golang, and some other, programming language. Now, to declare variable, right? We have, did I spell this wrong? We have something like let keyword. We use the let keyword, right? If I want to say let name equals John, right? This is similar to which programming language? This is similar to JavaScript, right? So Rust is not so hard if you pay attention to like some syntax. So if you have like JavaScript knowledge, this is not hard to think about, right? Now, this is how you declare variable. Let me see if I have any message here. So this is like this is a string. I call it a string, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a string. I will explain to that. I'll explain to you why. I can say let number equals 3. What other variable again do you have? Guys, some of you can mute unmute so we can have like section. Let's have like a teacher class session. Whatever you ask, we can just attend to it immediately. All right. Let number equals to 3. Let what other, let's say let sources equals to true, blah blah blah. You can see this is how we declare variables in Rust. Now, the unique thing about Rust is for something like JavaScript, I can declare this number and I can now say in the future, I can now say number equals to 4. So I declare a number here as 3 and I can say number equals to 4. For JavaScript, this will work, right? But for Rust, this is not going to work. Who can tell me why? Who can guess why? Anybody? And no answer is wrong. You can use your mic. No answer is wrong. Who can tell me why? I'm waiting for you guys. Should I mention your name? Ismaila. Since you started the doc a little bit, why can't I update this variable name in Rust? Why? Guys, let's get interactive, guys. Why can't I update this variable name in Rust? You can anyone who wants to answer that too, you can just text it. Just type something here. Why wait for this answer? Another thing again, um, another type of variable that we can declare, we can create array, right? We can say array and we can call something like this 1, 2, 1, 3, right? This is an array. But Rust array is different from JavaScript array, right? We cannot come here and say array.push the same way we do in JavaScript and push 2 in between. So this is another question again. Why can we not do this? Um, because variables are immutable by
Yeah.
default. Yes, that's correct. Variables are immutable by default, right? So nice one, Ismail. You cannot, in Rust, you cannot declare a variable and then change it here by itself. No, by default, this variable is immutable. Immutable means it will never change. For this to work, I need to have something called a mute. Yeah, which means I'm going to declare a variable called number, assign it an initial value, but this variable in the future, we can mutate this variable. So that means I can come here and say number equals to 4, right? Because I've told the compiler, the Rust compiler, that, hey, I'm declaring a variable now, but this thing can change in the future, right? Does that make sense, guys? Thumbs up. This is like the 101 of Rust. Once you understand this, you are going to understand a lot of things. So that's how I'm making sure you guys get it. Cool. Now, that's done. Yeah. We can create a function my name, right? And this function should basically return a name called let's use Kelsey, right? When you run this program, I think it's going to be here. Okay, cool. When you run this program, Rust will only run this guy, but will never run this guy. Why? Because Rust only focuses on the main function, right? It only focuses on the main function. So for us to execute this, we need to invoke it inside here, right? This will work. Let's see. Let me see if we can execute this on the. Let me see if we can execute this. I can just. I could just find the file. You know what? I should have used a playground actually. Let's use a Rust playground. The reason why I want to use a Rust program playground because I don't want to create a Rust project. I just want it to be very easy so we can understand, right? So simple, easy. Let's clear this. Or I can leave this. Comment this out for now. I will just copy what we have here already. This guy, and put it here, and I'll put this here, and I'll print. I want to print out the new number. So I'm gonna have something like this. I call this number, and I will print out number. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think this is it. Let's run. Cool. Just showing us some warnings. That's fine for now. So you can see that the number was printed out was 4, right? The reason why this happened is because we had this mutable value here. If we remove this, watch what will happen. It's going to fail. It's going to break. Why? It said could not compile program, right? See, cannot assign twice to a mutable value, right? So that means you must always add your mute to every function. So Rust is very easy, very easy. Now, when I tell you very easy, this is just the basics. Please don't don't underestimate it. This is just the basics. It can get harder, right? Don't underestimate it. Now, I think this is majority of the basics. We've declared numbers, characters, number. So if you go through this article that I shared here, you will see all the um, types, right? It basically just introduce you to this type. Like I don't need to even go through it again because I'm used to it. So basically introduce you all this to this type, right? Now, very important. There's something called vectors in Rust, right? Vectors. You know when I told you that we can declare an array in Rust. So for instance, if I say let's array numbers equals, let's say 1, 2, 3, right? If I want to print this out, print line, we need to actually move faster so that we can learn about. I'm not sure this will work, but let's see. Yep. I need to actually do this. To print this, I need to actually do. So you just watch. You don't have to know it off at print array Rust. Basically, you don't need to worry yourself. No one is a master, so you basically come here, ESCP, copy this, come here, do this, then I change this to array underscore number. I think this is it. If I run this now, it should work. Perfecto. You can see that it's printed out our number, yeah? Now, the problem with this is in Rust, this is actually just a static value. You cannot update this value. You cannot add to this, right? Rust sees this as a number, as a static number, and stores it. It stores this thing on a memory called the stack, not the heap. It stores this on the stack, right? This is a bit advanced, don't worry. But for us to update this guy, we need something called vector. Let's say array number 2 equals to vec. Should I use this method or I should use this? Watch what I will do again. I'll just basically declare a vector. How do you declare vectors? And also, no worries. The more we go further, the more you understand this. Let's go. So you can see I have this code vector. Then I print this number 2 here instead of number 1. Let's call this 2, 4, 6. Then if I run this, you can see it prints it now. I can update this if I had the first of all to update this. If I do something like this, array underscore norm 2 dot push. If I push 8 in it, just look at this 2, yeah. Will this thing pass? Will it pass successfully? Can I be able to push this 8 to this vector successfully or not? Give me a yes or no answer in the comments. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Can I be able to push this 8 inside this array? Yes, laughter. Okay, no. Another person. Give one more person. Yes or no? One more person. One more person. One more person. Yes or no? Yes or no? Suleiman, Kelsey, Arbitru. I need one more person to give me yes or no. Yes. Okay, cool. Suleiman said yes. Laughter said no. The correct person is laughter. And I'll explain to you why. So let's run. The reason why we cannot push is because remember, by default, when you declare a variable in Rust, they will be immutable, right? So you can see that it said you cannot borrow as mutable. Like we cannot push to something without adding mute to this. Do you understand? Does that make sense? Suleiman and Abidros. So that's the uniqueness of Rust. Yeah, it's okay that you're not getting it now. That's fine. But over time, you realize that it's actually just paying attention to these nuances, these subtle differences. Then you get it over time. So if you see now, if you're going to add the mute variable to this, and we'll call this push method, it should work now. When I run this, perfect. You can see that we have 2, 4, 6, 8. Do not forget, for you to update a variable in Rust, you must always add this. Yeah? Sounds good? Sounds good. Give me a thumbs up. Sounds good, yes or no? Thumbs up, thumbs up. All right, so cool, nice. Now we are going to get into Solana programs. Are you excited? Solana programs. Let's go. I'm going to share this repository with you guys. This is where I pushed the code. Sorry, this is my this is a tax for me at work. So I'm just sorry about that. Now we are going to share this program. Okay. So I'm going to drop the repo here. Right. When you click on this link, it's going to take you to the GitHub that contains the chain. Because in this particular project, I built the smart contract, the chain. It's called chain. So if you open the programs, if you open the source, the programs, you open the library, you will see the code, right? And then the idea is to now finally connect it to the front end, right? This connection is already done on the test. I'll explain to you guys, right? Connect this into the front end. It's already done to the test, but I'm explaining to you guys, all right? Any question? Okay, nobody. Cool. So let's proceed, right? Remember, just use click on this. You can save this, fork it, clone it, send PRO, make it better, I'm going to merge it. No worries. It can become open source project. Now, the idea for this project was just to build something to play with, right? I created a blog that is deployed on chain, right? So in this blog post, you can be able to post blogs, right? You can be able to edit this blog for now. So you can send a PRO to do something unique, something mad. If it's okay with me, I'll merge directly. If it's not, we're going to like go through it and I'll tell you, okay, why not do this, why not do that, and then you will be learning from there, right? So PROs are highly welcome in this project. Now, for us to generate this file, there's something called Anchor. Anchor is a tool that enables us to build um, Solana programs. Anchor. Can you see? Anchor, these tools enable us to build Solana programs. So basically, it's not magic. I basically came here. I came to installation and I look at, oh, how do I install this? I follow this whole step, right? You're going to experience some issues, of course. You follow this whole step, blah 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 blah. Then you click on next, right? Now to create an anchor project, you do something called anchor init. Anchor init. You can see that I did not create this variable myself. Like it's not because sometimes people think this thing is magic. It's not magic. I basically go to the documentation you read. I read them, then I implement. So anchor init is like a scaffold. I don't know if anybody have used if you use React here. It's something called npm create. That time you used to have something called create React app, right? Or Nest.js new. Now this is the same thing that we have here. Anchor init. When you run this program after installation, it's going to generate a new workspace, a new folder for you, and that's what this generated here for me, right? Generated this file, this folder called blogger chain, right? Because I named it blogger chain and generated this library for me. Now it's going to come with empty stuff. Then you are the one that's going to update your your code basically. All right. Now, does anybody know how Solana stores, value first of all before we proceed? How does Solana store value? Solana, let's go to Solana doc. Then we can go to displays. I hope this opens because sometimes it's not. Okay, while it loads, let's continue. Right. Please remember that keep all your questions once we are still going to be done. But uh, basically, have all your questions ready. If you want to ask me after the program, that's fine. Now, there's something called struct. I know I did not explain to you about struct when I was talking about Rust, but struct is basically like an object in JavaScript or in TypeScript. When you create an object, normally you have like let x equals blah blah name, something like this. This is JavaScript here. Let's say name Charles. Let's say let's man name Charles. Let's say height. You can say 6 feet. Stuff like this. This particular, you see the way we model an object, right? That's the same way you do with Rust, with struct. A struct is similar to objects in JavaScript, right? So do not be scared like, oh, what is struct? No. Because this is a blog post and I want to save a blog data on chain, I need to create something I call a blog state, right? The blog state is simple. If you're not following, please drop a message, or if you're confused or something, drop a message. Just want to make sure you guys you know, you guys understand what we're doing. The block state is what you store on chain. It's what you store on the Solana network, right? Now I say, okay, I want to create a blog. What would this blog have? It's going to have a title. It's going to have a image URL. It's going to have a blog ID. It's going to have details. It's going to have tags. It's going to have author, right? Now, the title is going to be a string. The image URL definitely is going to be a string. The ID because there are going to be multiple blocks, right? multiple block. So if there's going to be an ID, the ID is going to tie to each of the states, each of the block state that I store on Solana network. If I've confused you, thumbs up. If you are confused now, thumbs up. Okay, I'll guess everybody's following. Cool. The tags is like, okay, I want to store. Remember, this is a vector. What I told you guys, that a vector is an array. But now this is a type. I want to store an array of numbers as tags, right? Tag means I will say, okay, if this blog is JavaScript blog, I can say it's a tag one. If it's a Python blog, I say it's a tag two. If it's a C++ blog, I can say it's a tag eight, right? So it's going to be like an array of numbers, in this state, so that whenever somebody is fetching this blog, they can know from the UI to map the numbers to a certain tag. Does that make sense? Then the author is like the person himself who created this blog will save their wallet address and state. Remember the way Solana works. You create a transaction, you create a program. I mean, you call a program. That program will create a transaction. That transaction will store state. Fine, we can just see it from the documentation. I'm not sure why this thing is. I'm not sure why this thing is taking time. Okay. Please, if you are following, I know it's very very a bit confusing. Don't get confused. It takes time. You will get it over time. So this block state, I need to create methods to update this blog and to create this blog, right? Which is why I created the blog post method, right? But before we go there, in Anchor, in Anchor, I need to share this thing with you guys so that you can go check it out yourself again. There's so much to learn. This is actually very large to even do in 1 hour. So this is the Anchor lang. Please, you can check it again. So in Anchor, there's something called um, accounts. You know, basically the account is to serialize data that are coming in, right? Before Anchor, we were using pure Rust to write Solana programs, and it was very, very hard to serialize and deserialize data, right? Now, because of this blog post that I want to create, we need to, first of all, the person that is going to publish this blog on Solana's network, we need to know if this person exists or not, right? All these things that I are seeing here, they are all called constraints. Constraints, yeah. So if you come here, if you come to Anchor, if you go to constraints, you will see everything I'm talking about there. This is basic, it's not magic, right? You will see all these things here. So basically, what I would advise you to do is maybe clone this repo, right? Play with it, then go to Anchor and just you'll be seeing these things and you'll be seeing how they work, right? You see, so basically we have the this constraint that says, okay, initialize this state if it is needed. That means if the state is not already existent on the blockchain, please initialize it. And when you initialize it, the person that was going to pay for the transaction is going to be called a payer, right? Now, for Solana has a concept called space and rent. If it was in Ethereum, you can just deploy no matter the size of your contract. You deploy it on Ethereum network. But for Solana, you can't do that. Why? Because Solana wants you to be careful when you write your smart contracts, because these things are in people's laptop. How do I mean? Um, as on my laptop, I can create a Solana node. I mean, I can create a Solana client, and I'll be getting transactions. Yeah. So because these things are in people's laptops, Solana needs you to like define a space for them. If this space is very large, you need to pay for it. So the higher the space, the higher the amount you're going to pay for this. Uh, okay, no message. The higher the space, the higher the amount. Now the seed is going to be the blog ID that will be generated from outside that we want to use for a certain blog. Now, this is going to be per blog state. Guys, I know I'm saying so much language. It may not be so easy to understand, but let me just walk through with you guys and you can check it out more. If you have more questions, just text me. Um, then the block state, this is where we store our state, which is the sign, which is this particular state as a whole. Now, this block state will contain the title, image URL, blog URL, blog ID, detail, blah, blah, blah. And the signer is whoever is going to publish this. Remember that we said it here already, that whoever is paying for this initial transaction will be the signer. The system program, this is something you just need to add to tell Solana that, hey, this is actually going to live in Solana network, right? Awesome. Understand? All right, cool. Now, quickly, just to run down with you guys, I'm very sure we should have. I think we should have more class in the future. Is there's so much to there's so much to learn. Okay, so quickly to want to create a method called post blog, right? Posting a blog, and you can see this parameter. All these parameters were generated by Anchor. Why Anchor is super important is because look, I could just create a function, and once I've add a context to that function with my account, automatically I have access to my states, all this my states automatically. That's one good thing about Anchor, right? So I want to create a blog post. First of all, I want to get access to my states. I need to, get a blog ID. I need a title. I need an image. I need blah blah blah. Basically, a function that you pass in data, and those data will be used to create the states. So you can see blog ID, we map it with the parameters from the function. Author, we get it from the context. Remember that our author is the user's public key, right? From here. And this public key was gotten from the signer's address. Whoever is going to deploy or create this method, that's where we get the public key from. The title is coming from here. The image URL is basically okay. Imagine your blog post, like your Medium blog post. It's going to be like a very big header image. So, but you cannot deploy, you cannot store very large things. That's why we are using your URL, right? The details is going to be like the details of the blog itself. Then the tags is going to be like the array of tags. And when this is finally done, we just send a message to the front end that blog created. Then okay. All right. So far so good. If you understand, thumbs up. I mean, if at least if you're following to some point, it's making sense. Thumbs up. Thank you. Awesome, awesome. Now, to edit that same blog, to edit is very simple. The same logic. We need that particular blog ID that we want to edit. We want to pass in parameters, right? That we want to edit. So basically the blog ID, and then we can pass in all these parameters. So if the person trying to edit this particular ID is not the right person, we send an error called blog author not found. And this error was created here, right? Error code. So this is how you create an error code on Anchor with Anchor and with Trust basically. So we basically attach a modifier, and then we send, and basically an enum in JavaScript. Now remember that you cannot do anything. It automatically will change this thing to either to a number. You can see this is 0. So it's almost what I'm trying to achieve here is to tell you guys that okay, this is not so hard, but it requires you to like go into the we have 3 minutes left. So it requires you to like go into the feed and make more research, more and more research. All right. Okay, so this is done. Fine, we are done with building this thing. How do we test it? Anchor now provides you something called test folder. So you go to your test folder and when you open it, you see how to test. Most of these things I wrote them myself. So you may want to when you do anchor in it, you may not see these things. Most of them I read them myself. I'll advise you again. You can just copy it from my code. It's going to be very easy for you instead of just trying to think everything from scratch again. Always try to build from what people built. Cool. And so I want to test the blog post. You can see that I created an ID, random ID one, random ID two, and I created three wallets. Wallet one, wallet two, wallet three. And oh, I didn't teach you guys about PDAs. Hmm. Uh, the- the- yeah, sure, sure. I'll drop my Twitter handle is Charles underscore Lux. Let's continue. So uh, I'm actually having a meeting soon. That's why I'm checking time. Um, so basically, let us assume that you understand PDA, but it's not so hard. PDA is like um, how do I explain this? You want Solana to programmatically sign for you instead of you being available. For instance, if I want to send money to Laughter, basically what I need to do is to like go to my wallet and send, right? But PDA lives on chain. Like it helps Solana to like know that, oh, this is your intention, and please proceed and sign this thing for this user without you even being present. That's PDA, but it's more than that, to be honest. But let's just assume you know that, because this is actually a full blown course on its own, right? Now, for each of the wallets I created, I dropped some funds to each of them. Airdrop. You can see how we do this, and this is how we created the post. So you can see that I called the program and the methods, and I called post blogs. Look, the method name we created was called what? Post blog. Now, but you're wondering, why is there no underscore in this one? There's no underscore because this is JavaScript. So automatically, not really, because this is JavaScript. Automatically, when this was compiled by Rust, it removed when it was compiled by Anchor, it removed the underscore here and compiled it as this, right? So don't get confused if you don't see the underscore, right? Good. And so you can see we pass in the ID, we say hello world, and we what do we use again? This is like the details. Yeah, and this is the title, right? And this is the details, and this is our tags. We pass tag 0 and we convert it to a buffer. Then we pass in the accounts that should do this. So let's just test this. If I run, if I say anchor build, um, ls, oh, sorry, I need to go to logger dash chain. Then if I do anchor build, it's going to build the whole Solana program. Then if I do anchor tests, yes, if I do anchor tests, it's going to run this test for us by default. So you can see 4%. You can see that this actually created a this actually deployed our app on my local network, right? And basically you can see the public key of this particular one. This one too. You can see this is a new post. You can see that the public key is different from the one here. And this is like this is just the image URL. I use a random image URL tied to blog. This is the blog ID, blah blah blah. So this is just, I know this is a bit advanced, as I said before, but with time, when you spend more time to like go through these things more and more, just the same way you spend time with React, the same way you spend time with Node.js, or maybe you learn Golang or something. When you spend more time with these things, it becomes easy for you. So I'm having like meeting in the next 5 minutes, so I need to stop here. Any question, please? Um, Betros, do you have a question? Please, if you have a question, just use the mic.
Um, okay. Thank you for your presentation. You know, it actually very simple and precise. Yeah, I know, but I would actually like to plead with you to, in case, schedule another meeting for us because this is just like a brush up. Because and I have this particular question I want to ask.
Mhm.
You actually talk about funding. Is it something about payment on Solana? So is it that whenever I want to build a Solana project, I need to make a payment, or let me just understand something about that?
Oh, what I talk about was space. It's because some when they say something is decentralized, yeah, it's not like there's an office for that thing, right? There's no office, so to say, where it's not like AWS that AWS has like a thousands or tons of thousands of terabytes that you can store. No, Solana runs on people's laptop somewhere around the world. They can be in New Zealand, they can be in whatever country they can be. Yeah. And because it's going to run on people's laptop, that means people are going to buy space for their laptop. So if your program is very, very bulky, it will stay on people's laptop. So what Solana did, that's their own system, is if your app is going to be above a certain kilobytes, if your content is going to be above a certain kilobytes, you need to pay for it. But in 2 years' time, you get the money back. It's called rent fee, right? In 2 years' time, you get the money back. So it's not like you are losing its share, but you pay. The last time I deployed on Solana for a product, it was a very, very simple app, but we paid around 6 souls. So if you calculate it now, you can see that that's a lot of money. 6 Solana, 6 souls to deploy, right? But when I know in the next 1 year plus or 1 year time, we are going to get back the whole money we used to deploy. So does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it actually make a little more sense.
Yeah. So
But
it's not. It's
yeah,
important.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go on.
okay. No, I'm really satisfied with that for now.
hmm Okay. Cool.
Sorry.
Any other question?
I think there's no more question for now.
All right. Cool. Laughter. I see this side. Do you have a question? I see your text on the chat.
I don't really have a question. It's just that at some point I'm not understanding it again. Like
I know.
there's a lot to take in. There's a lot to take in. So that's just it.
Yes. Yes. Maybe sometime in the future, we're going to have a well to be honest, to learn Solana smart contract is not 1 hour. It's not even a day. It's not even a week, right? When you want to learn, um, first of all, you need the first bottleneck itself is even Rust. That's the number one bottleneck. Then you now start progressing to like learning another framework called Anchor. Then you start progressing to like learning how Solana interacts with how Anchor interacts with Solana chain. Then you start progressing to learn in your SPL, so many token programs and all that. Even though you can do that once with JavaScript, but if you want to if you want to run them on chain, that's a lot of work. Do you get? So maybe in the future we can have like a proper planning and say, okay, we're going to go through a series, right? That will work. But right now, just preamble. So work with what we have, right? Work with what we have. Go to download the. I would suggest that you clone the repo. Not for me. It's for like just to see some methods and understand more. And you can even play with play with the repo and send PR. You can learn from guys. You can learn from open source, right? So play with it, send PRs, and you learn from the conversation that you have with me on the PR. Yeah. Any other questions after? Or it's my I think you want to talk something.
So I wanted to ask, did you write Solidity?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so how was it transitioning from Solidity to Rust?
It wasn't. It was Solidity was like Solidity is like to me. It's not for me. It's a scripting language. I feel Solidity is very very easy, right? So if you know like a program language like Python or JavaScript, you should know Solidity. So transitioning for me was it like oh Solidity to Rust was like transitioning from like maybe a TypeScript to Rust or JavaScript to Rust, right? So to answer that question, I spent 2 weeks with Rust actively every day. Let's say every day 4 hours, 2 weeks consistently. And I was like in their Discord channel that time. I was asking questions, talking to people that are very, very talented, just making myself, into the space. So now what you can do is not really it's a it's a skill, yeah. If I want to go learn how to be a nail technician, and it's gonna be hard for me, even though I'm very smart or I've done something big. Like if I want to learn something new, it's going to be hard. So you need to pass through that stage. The good thing is you already have the programming experience. So it's not going to be totally hard for you, like someone that's coming from university that doesn't have any totally programming experience. Yeah, that's going to be a total ball game. So you can say to yourself, 1 month, right? I'm going to get the fundamentals, then progress. All right. So I guess I've answered all the questions. All right, Cassie, you can proceed.
All right, thank you so much, Charles. Thank you very much for coming on board. Thank you, everybody that's attended. Raptor, Suleiman, Ibrahim, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. I know you're going to practice what you definitely learned. I'm sure you're going to do that. So yeah, quick one before we go. So we have our contest coming up very soon, of which there are cash prizes attached. And not just that, we actually want to test what you've learned so far and to also launch you into other bigger communities that are doing the same thing we do. So yeah, I know you're going to do your homework. So thank you once again for coming on board. We'll communicate in our Telegram group and every resources dropped here. I'm going to share it to the Telegram community. So do have a good night and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much. Yeah, you can leave now.